We might not have had a lot of cash, but we ate well. Eating well was a badge of honor for my family. And my claim to fame was that I, as a young child, could eat as much as my 6-foot, 240-pound father. Or at least that's what they said. Bless her heart, look at her. She eats as much as her daddy. And I was proud. We ate a lot. We had 3 fat-laden, heart attack-inducing, oversized meals a day, all cooked by my hard-working mother. There were no pizzas, drive-through, or takeout in our house. Everything was planted, grown, harvested, butchered, cooked, served, and eaten on that small family farm. Outside the back door, porch door, there was always a 5-gallon bucket full of pure, white, fluffy lard. I remember not wanting to think about where lard came from or how it was made. Instinctively, I knew it was horrible. We also didn't want to think about what it might be doing to our arteries, our bellies, and our hips. We might have even thought it was good for us, that we were eating high on the hog. Now that I think of it, I believe that's where lard comes from. Nonetheless, 3 meals a day required at least 1 daily trip out to the back porch to get Mama a heaping cup of pure fat. Every single meal, thanks to the lard and Mama in the kitchen, we had delicious homemade biscuits. You would open up a hot biscuit just out of the oven and spread it with thick, creamy butter and fig jam. These figs came from the trees in our backyard. We also had apple and pear trees, blueberries and strawberries, and grapevines to make more jams and jellies. Those biscuits were sinful. They were deadly, and they were just a side dish. Every meal we ate meat from our farm. We took our cows to the local slaughterhouse, and the cow would come back in white freezer paper packages of T-bone, ribeye, and sirloin steaks, big and small roast, and ground hamburger meat. We also raised and slaughtered pigs, or hogs, as we call them in the South. You dare not befriend an animal on our farm. It was commonplace to walk behind the house and run into a gutted, young, pink pig hanging upside down, bleeding out. The dead pig would ultimately be taken to the same meat locker, where it too would return in mounds of white wrapped paper. All of those white packages looked the same, so labeling was an important skill. Mama would be looking for chopped steak, and instead she had unthawed pork chops. Didn't matter. She fried it up with flour, egg, and lard. She would also fry any vegetable you put in front of her. Fried okra, fried squash, fried onions. Steamed broccoli was not in her recipe file. She'd open a can of asparagus spears, pour thick Campbell's cream of mushroom soup over it, spread crushed Ritz crackers dabbed heavily with butter, and cover the entire casserole in a grated American cheese. This was my mother's idea of a vegetable. We had biscuits at breakfast with fried bacon or fried ham or fried bologna with fried eggs. You haven't lived until you've had thick, hot Southern grits. And everyone knows that's just a vehicle for butter and cheese. There were no Frosted Flakes or Cheerios at my mother's breakfast table. But it was the suppers, especially the Sunday suppers and the holiday meals that were so gluttonous I'm embarrassed to talk about them. Everything my mother served was a bad health choice. Homemade mashed potatoes with gravy, macaroni and cheese, sweet potato pies, and to top it off, there was always a dessert made with back porch lard. It was fabulous. Every Friday night, you could count on it. We grilled homegrown steaks outdoors, big slabs of beef that overlapped the dinner plate, leaving no room for the baked potatoes loaded with butter, sour cream, and cheese, a vegetable casserole, fat, fluffy biscuits, a choice of pie cake or cobbler, and gallons of sweet tea. Have you ever had Southern iced tea? 2 full cups of white granulated sugar mixed in with sun-steeped Lipton tea bags. We drank it by the pitcher, a pure elixir, and like the biscuits, another heart stopper. My mother's deep-fried chicken was my favorite meal. This woman knew how to fry chicken. No KFC for my family. To this day, I'll betray my vegetarian principles and diet for good Southern fried chicken like my mama's. However, she didn't have to unthaw frozen chicken. Mama would walk out the back door and with a swift reach of her arm, catch one of the dozens of flapping, clucking chickens, break its neck with a twist and a pop, pluck the feathers, give the bald chicken a hot scald, carve it up, dip it in flour, fry it in lard, and serve it up that night. This is the definition of free-range organic chicken. The origins of farm to table. After being married to my mom for 52 years, my overweight dad died of heart disease. After 52 years of eating fried steak, fried eggs, fried squash, daily biscuits, and desserts, all washed down with Pabst Blue Ribbon beer, all the wrong choices caught up with him. A couple of heart attacks, quadruple bypass surgery, stomach surgery, and finally his heart giving out in his sleep, a day after his 76th birthday, where he had eaten Frogmore stew until he was about to burst. The man could eat. He was a legend. From toddlerhood on, I would sit beside my adored father and eat massive amounts of whatever he would eat. Like my father, I too would eat until I could eat no more. Thus, at 16, I was fat, obese, and no wonder. As a child, being fat was kind of cute, kind of okay, but not at 16. The days of Southern fried living were over.